The President confirmed that the fire did not raze Parliament to the ground. It's not completely destroyed, but he said it has devastated the parliamentary precinct and its contents, including some of the artefacts. Now, Parliament has close to 4,000 items of artistic or heritage value, and there was concern about a 120-metre-long Keiskamma tapestry, which depicts the history of the Eastern Cape from the perspective of the woman who made that incredible tapestry. To discuss, we're now joined by Professor Pitika Ntuli, who's an expert in African Indigenous Knowledge Systems. Thank you for being with us. Professor, are you worried that priceless artifacts may have been lost?
I'm very worried about even more than the artifacts in itself. What is more important is that was the fire just an accident, or was a fire because there is some mischief that is actually taking place, which will then take us back to the destabilization processes like we would find up during the looting period. But that the artworks in themselves, I thought that a firewall was built in Parliament in order to protect the artworks. But if the artworks are affected, then it is far much more, kind of serious. And especially when we talk about the tapestry that the women had done, that is just so long, which is so unique, in the world. Losing something like that would be a very, very, very devastating, matter.
Yes, and we don't know what has been lost, but the President did confirm that some contents have been lost, so we don't know what's still there. And yes, apparently there is a firewall, and the firefighters were saying they were trying to keep doors closed, so we really don't know right now. But this is important, and questions will be asked about how they were preserved, the safety and security around these artifacts. Tell us more about the tapestry. There's a huge focus on the tapestry.
Yes. What happens actually, if we've got about 4,000 artworks, that are in the country, and we've got a lot of other works that we have in our national museums, this particular tapestry is of particular importance by the people who made it, what it actually articulates, and it is just one of those heirlooms that are very special for us, and also identifying us and our identity as South African creative people.
And that was looking at the history of the Eastern Cape. What else is housed in Parliament?
There are a lot of artworks that are kept there, which need actually to be preserved for future generations, and also for educational purposes. So it's very, 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 very crucial that we find out as to what caused the fire, because that's what for me is more worrying. Now, right up, the Parliament is where our lawmakers and the people who work there stay. If there were people, the session was on and the fire actually started, we wouldn't want to have our ministers, our president, and everybody, being caught up in a mess, such as, that. One asks the question then is that, what security measures do we have as a country to protect the lives of the people who are in Parliament, who work in Parliament, the parliamentarians, and everybody else, the artworks, and the legislation that we have been passed here for centuries? How safe are those issues? How much of digitalization is actually being done in order to protect these things? We had fire last year from the Cape, the Table Mountain, which affected even Grooteskier and this, and people began working up on digitizing whatever is there. So we need, therefore, to digitize the stuff that's actually in Parliament if we are to protect it and to safeguard our own heritage.
I'm glad you brought this up. At the time, there was huge concern about Afrikaner literature, African literature that is out of print, that cannot be published again and can be lost. And I'm so sad now I haven't seen it, or I didn't see it, but apparently Parliament also has an incredible library with a lot of old literature as well. So you're saying that's a huge concern if anything was lost and it wasn't digitized, yes?
Yes, yeah, that's what would be for me far much more worrying. Because our history has been, denied by the colonial, regime, who was claiming that we arrived here up at the same time. Therefore, there's no need to carry out any archaeological things. So whatever we have that is actually old and dated, we need to have it there, recorded, preserved, and protected.
All right, thank you very much for your time, Professor Pitika Ntuli, expert in African Indigenous Knowledge Systems and a political and cultural commentator.